mighty hard road that my poor hand has hold. My poor feet has traveled a hot, dusty road. Out of your dust bowl and westward we rolled, and your desert was hot and your mountains was cold. There you go. From your ground cut the grapes from your vine to set on your table your light sparkling wine. Green pastures of plenty from dry desert ground, from that grand Cooley Dam where the water runs down.
Precious stone, part of earth, where heaven is rained on. Makes no difference where you are, day or night time. You're like a shining star. How could I shine with?
So, special treat for you all today. We will be mic'd because we're practicing a broadcast. So this is a part of a broadcast test.
We will be live on YouTube.
So don't be scared to still ask questions because there's no one watching. It's just a test. So
To present Google Forms and Google Sheets. So we're going to go through nitty-gritty just like we did last time and walk you through everything. If there's anything we go too fast on or you don't quite get, make us repeat. We have no problem doing any of that. Also, a lot of you like to have our presentations in front of you. So we've made this short URL to our presentation for you here. So feel free to... Okay, moving on.
yeah.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. That's an L, is that what?
Nicole, will you write that code down so you can give it to people? Yeah, if we have any new. Sure.
Colors of them, I only get one piece of them. That's okay. It's not like the mail. I'm thinking everything you start. Right, right, okay. If you change the colors of your, the label. Yep, then that I think it would look kind of like. Yeah, I like so. So excited. I said, oh, Rebecca would love this. I'm very happy.
regarding that form she's trying to actually
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. If it makes your arm hurt to carry it,
yeah, right. That's what she wants to leave.
I think so. That's a personal thing.
Take that baton to her and then you can get that with you.
We'll find out today. She's good.
That's what she wanted to do. Gotta attach it as the, I see what they give her her responses, or they give to upload something.
I believe so.
Okay.
Okay. We have Nicole, our intern this summer. And so we do our training for our Google study sessions, and we have 100 people in the room. So they all bring their personal. So we have to then get them to download the certificate. So that's what she's asking you to
Yeah,
get.
it's a big confusing one. Yeah.
Process to get everybody.
Why do they bring their personal? Oh, because they
They're
probably don't,
teachers.
they're teachers, just, and that's optional, just in case you want to follow along.
You out?
I get to decide.
Okay, so we're going to get started here with our welcoming ritual. I would like you to chat with one or track me with the camera.
That is good practice. You shouldn't be in this bottom one. Right? Yeah, now you're not.
You want me to get your tone?
Yeah.
Well, that's how it was when I had Starbucks.
Yeah. Like, oh.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's
Popcorn.
I missed the,
popcorn. I couldn't even eat for years after that.
I missed the link. I'll take that. It's the one at the bottom of my.
Melissa, can you back that slide up one more time for the link?
So I told Melissa about her skill with sheets. You might have to show some of your. Yes. So like if we, have time, you want to do some advanced stuff, maybe we'll have a guest speaker. I can read that off for you.
No, I've done some amazing stuff
That's what I'm saying.
for
Remember you
behavior.
saying-
Remember the behavior tracking sheets with the drop downs and the automatic.
That's what we invited Mike to come on later, for the desk. The things that they do with trailblazers is like mind-blowing. And when you get involved in like they have sheets connected to all the regions.
I would have to go on our shared stuff. I did them, but he used but we have automatic. Unfortunately.
Are we ready to keep going?
Yes, I've heard what Janice would like to learn today.
Does it have anything to do with Google Forms and Sheets?
To make them anonymous.
Oh, how to make surveys anonymous. The response is anonymous. Yep.
We will cover
Yep.
that.
We will definitely cover that. Okay. Moving on. Yetta, is that a hand? No? Okay. So the very first thing we need to know is how to get to all the different Google apps. So the easiest way is, I always tell people, everybody knows how to get to their mail. So once you're in your mail, in the top right corner, there's those 9 dots. Google calls them the app selector. In that are all of the Google programs. Know that you can take one of the different apps and drag it to wherever you want. So if you always use your mail first, you can drag that mail up to the top and have that first so that it's right there where you want it, and access it quickly. So when we're going to Google Forms and Google Sheets, it's going to be in here. You're going to see here's Google Forms right here. Sheets is up there. Also know that Google has the same convention URL address for every single application they have. So it's whatever you're looking for, .google.com. Okay, so sheets.google.com, forms.google.com, etc. My response is showing up on the screen. As people complete my form, those responses are going to change to the second, and they will be able to see everything that happens. There's lots of different question options. You can add images to either the question or the actual form itself. You can add YouTube videos. So Sheets, again, you can share that with anyone, just like you can most Google tools. You can edit them in real time. You can chat. You can comment. Most of the stuff we went over with docs and slides last time. But again, we have new people, so we may repeat a little bit for those of you that were here on Tuesday with us. Your files, questions, videos, tiles, I don't have to read all that to you, but we're going to go through all that. If there's something we don't cover and you want to know, this is a very informal environment, so please just let us know and we will answer and backtrack, and whatever it is that you need is our goal to help you. So like I said, if we go too fast, go too slow, whatever, just yell and we will repeat. Okay, moving on. Go live. I like this. She gets to drive, I get to talk.
No. Backseat driver over here. So we're going to create a form. So we're going to be really hands-on today because we're going to let everyone create a form as well. So either go to your app selector or go to forms.google.com, and let's go ahead and create a form. So when you land on your Google Forms, you're going to be on a splash page, the same as when we did docs and slides last class. You're going to have some templates that are available for you in the template gallery. You can use those, customize those, modify them, edit them to fit your own needs, or you can start from scratch with a blank form. So if you need that t-shirt sign up and you need it yesterday, you can click that t-shirt sign up form. Just detest the color purple, and you cannot deal with this purple while we're doing our session today. You can go ahead and change that color. Oh no, no updates. No, Microsoft. So you can pick a different color, or down here in the bottom where you see that picture, you can pick a theme. Now, when you pick that theme, it's going to change your color. You can also upload your own photos. So that would be where you would customize that bar across the top, the header. So if you wanted to put your school's logo or your department logo, you can customize that for yourself. I'll go back. Up here at the top, there's a palette. And if you don't want to do just super simple, these are just going to change the colors, then you're going to get the option to choose one of these themes, or you can also upload your own photo here. So you have lots of options.
And what's cool is, I know like if you go to the Just Kids one, I believe, there's some of these pictures that actually move. So like there's the little baby up at the top. I just had Grayson, so I'm all about babies now. But see how he moves? And so as you have that picture up at the top, they'll kind of move a little bit. And, you know, it's neat. I like it. It's the little things, right, that get you excited?
So depending on which picture you choose, it will change the color of the background. And right now, today, at this moment, that is not customizable. However, Google did announce 2 weeks ago at ISTE that they are adding different customization features. So you can change this gray to a blue. You can change your fonts and also your font colors. That customization is not available today, but we're going to inside of the presentation, there's a hot link to a blog article that details all of those changes that should be coming in the next week or two. We were hoping by today, but no such luck. Okay, so you've chosen a theme. I don't like the one I chose. Blah, gray. I don't think so. I'm going to go
She's
simple.
that person that can't deal with the purple throughout and has to change it real quick.
I don't mind purple, but gray, meh. Right. So I'm going to go with a nice, cool, calming blue. So has everyone chosen a color? Great. All right. So
That's the fun part, I think.
And
Then you have to actually do the work and put the information in.
so we're going to come back to those tools at the top a little bit later. So now we're going to build out our form. So we have our questions. We have our title. So let's go ahead and title our form. So if you want to do this as a real world practice, think of information that you may want to glean from people in your department or people that you work with. For us, I'm just going to do a study test or something. So I know to delete this. We always put test or study, so I know that this isn't a real thing. The Eventbrite registration form. So you can put a lot of information in here. I'm just going to put sample text. Okay, so now I'm down to my questions.
Wait, before you do that,
Go ahead.
good practice is always to title your form.
True.
So we've already put our title in the actual form, but not in the top left corner. The top left corner is what you're going to search for in your Google Drive in order to find this form again. So right now it's called untitled form. If we just simply click on that word, it will automatically change it to the title we put in our form, so we don't have to type it once again. It will automatically populate for us.
Yeah, that's just it's not just a short descriptor. So if you want to have instructions, you can put hyperlinks in here. You can put lots of information. So for example, we did a very, very extensive form for the Summer Literacy Institute, and we put tons of information in there about how to register inside of ELM, the directions, the dates, the times, and also a hyperlink to the Eventbrite registration form. So you can put a lot of information in here. I'm just going to put sample text. Okay, so now I'm down to my questions.
Wait, before you do that,
Go ahead.
good practice is always to title your form.
True.
So we've already put our title in the actual form, but not in the top left corner. The top left corner is what you're going to search for in your Google Drive in order to find this form again. So right now it's called untitled form. If we just simply click on that word, it will automatically change it to the title we put in our form, so we don't have to type it once again. It will automatically populate for us.
Yeah, that's just another quick step that Google helps you to eliminate, and that works in Docs and Sheets and Slides. The only one it does not work in is Google Sites. You do have to type it out. I don't know why. Okay, so it is going to put in everything that you do put in that title. So keep that in mind too. If your title is very, very, very long and then you click an untitled form, your title of your form is going to be very, very, very long. Obviously you can't edit it, but if you only want it to be a couple of words, go ahead and click it after you do that. Okay, so we got some questions here. Now, if you click into where it says untitled question, it's going to give you the opportunity to write your question. Out to the right, these are your question types. So you can have short answer, paragraph, multiple choice, checkbox, drop down. You can upload a file. You can make a linear scale, multiple choice grid, checkbox grid, just all kinds of stuff. So we're going to just start with a question. We're going to start with a basic question for name. So right now you see it's in multiple choice. Google's really smart. If I put in name, it automatically changes that question type to short answer. So a lot of times you don't have to click your question type first. When you start writing the question, Google is going to read your mind and know what type of question you want to ask.
Let's go through the question types real quick.
Sure.
Okay, so if you click where it says short answer or whatever it says for you, it may not say that now, you get a drop down of all the possible options of possible questions that you can use within your form. So let's just start at the top and work our way down and go through those. So short answer is basically a sentence or less. So just a few words that you want to write to populate that data, right? So whether it be your name, it can be first name, last name. Some people have 4 names for their name. However many words you need, that short answer response is for that. Where paragraph response is for just that, a paragraph. It's a long response. The next one is multiple choice, and you can see that it's got the circle, which we call radio button. It's a radio button. A multiple choice selection is where you can only choose one possible result. Where the next one, a checkbox, means that I can choose multiple things. It's a multi-select question where I can choose multiple things as my answers. The third one is a drop-down. So I use that quite frequently when I have the list of all the schools, and I don't want my form to be, 186 names long. So if I click drop-down, and then what's also nice with drop-downs is I can type the first letter and be at that section of the list so I don't have to scroll all the way through, assuming it's in alpha order. And even if it's not, if I just, let's say it starts with a C, if I tap C a few times, it's going to toggle through all the items in my drop-down with a C. So it'll bring that to me. And this, Cheryl, is for you. This is your file upload button. This is where if you want people to submit their PowerPoints, their PDFs, their Word docs, their Google Docs, their anything, it doesn't have to be Google, obviously. It can be Google or Word or Office or anything. That is where you have the file upload. And there's an option whether you want them to only be able to upload 1 file or 5 files or 10 files or et cetera. So you have that capability to have as much as you want. That's also a great way to collect things that are very large. So I don't know if you've ever had where you're trying to email something out, but it's too big and it won't send. And you keep getting that error message. If you can either add it into here, or if you just add it into your drive and share that link out, that's a great way to share that. A linear scale. This is Randy Powell's favorite. So it's basically a 1 through 5, and you choose what does the 1 represent. Is it the best? Is it the worst? What is it? And then 5 would be the opposite. And then people put whatever that, choose. Was this training 1 phenomenal or 5 horrible? And choose whatever number in between. Multiple choice grid and checkbox grid. One of those is new. So basically,
multiple choice grid is a great way to do matching. So teachers use that for matching. Yeah. So you have 1 over here and 1 over here, and whichever, A matches up with number 1 and B matches up with D. So it's used for that.
Oh, okay. So then a checkbox grid might be the top is maybe different body parts and the side is different people, and you're going to check whose name goes with which body part, for example, or which cell goes with which mitosis, meiosis, whatever. I'm trying to come up with good examples. We're going to have to show you that one because I actually had to do it in order for it to sink in so I understood what it was. The last one is the date. So if you want them to select a date, this will bring up a little calendar and allow them to do that. And time as well will bring up the numbers in the right order, the 2 digits, colon 2 digits, and allow you to select the time. So those are all your options in question type. Are there any questions about those? And we'll, of course, do them live so that you have a hands-on.
Okay, so that's what we're going to do now. We started with name. Of course, you can do whatever you want, but that is going to be a short answer response. So just to kind of go over some of the things you see on your screen with the form, some of the options. So on the top of that question, you'll see the 6 dots. That allows you to drag and drop those questions. So as you put in questions and you realize, oh, I don't have them in the order that I want them, you can then just go grab those 6 dots at the top and drag that question wherever you want it to be. And we'll practice that after we have a couple of questions. So also down here at the bottom, I can duplicate a question. So if I have this long question, but I want to change it from, what was the best thing you learned or what was the worst thing you learned, I can just duplicate it and change one of the words. I can also delete this question. I don't like it. I can make this question required. So if you want to collect names or a specific piece of data, you want to make that required just by clicking that button. That means they will not be able to submit the form until they have completed that question. Anytime you see 3 dots, that's going to be your More menu, so you can show those things. Out to the right, this is where we're going to add more questions. This is where we'll add titles and descriptions. So up at the top, we have a title and description. If we wanted to add another title and description, say we want to have a separate page because we're going to start doing some page branching, that's where we would do that. We're going to come back to that because that's more advanced. We can add images. We can add videos straight from YouTube, and then add sections. This section is where we're going to do page branching. But we're going to go through those question types that Melissa just talked about. So you can upload videos. I don't know. Yeah, by a URL. If you have it, no, it's only YouTube. I take that back. You have to put it on YouTube. Yeah, it has to be. Right. But you can create a YouTube channel, so you can't upload your videos to YouTube. Good question that I was wrong about. Okay. First time ever, right? This hour. Okay, second question. So what we're going to do, we have our first question. We did a short answer. We're going to go out here to the right, our toolbar, and we're going to click the Add Question button, the little plus sign. So that's going to put our question underneath the first one. Again, if we wanted to move it up, we would just grab that, that handle, the dots, and move it. So we're going to go to our second question type, which was paragraph. And you could put in a question that would deem a long answer response.
Tell me why you were here today.
Yeah. What do you love about Rebecca?
There you go.
Tell me what you... Typing with one hand is hard.
Yes. I know, I always put the mic down.
So tell me what you want to learn today. That could be a paragraph. I can make this optional. You don't have to tell me. I won't be offended. So I'm going to not make that required. That's going to allow you to answer if you want. All right. Everybody has a paragraph question? All right. Let's go to multiple choice. So... I always like to do food questions. Do
This
you
makes me
like
hungry.
pizza? So if you notice, when I typed in that question, do you like pizza? Google's really smart, and it knows that that's a yes or no question. So it gave me some suggestions. Yes, no, maybe. This works for us who like to take shortcuts, and I can just click add all. I don't have to type those in. Then they're there. But for me, when I ask the question, do you like pizza, there's no maybe. It's a yes or no answer. So I want to get rid of that maybe. So out to the right, I can just easily click that X, and I get rid of that option. This is a required question. I need to know whether you like pizza or not, whether we can be friends. So go ahead and type in a multiple choice question, your choice. I'll give you a minute. Just to get some practice. And you can add as many choices as you'd like on those types of questions. It's not limited to 2 or 3 or 4. It can be a lot. But when you are doing multiple choice, you have to think, if you have 20 choices, it might be better to do the drop down.
The other thing that you could do is click Add Other. So this add other will give you a blank where you can actually fill in your own response. Maybe it's not a yes or no. Maybe it depends who made it. There are some people that after Papa John's comment will never eat Papa John's again. So you never know. So you could also have that other option.
All right, let's move on to our next question type. We're going to, again, click our plus. And they were both required, right? It's up to you. I made that one required.
So the way you know whether or not it's required after you've already done it is that little red star at the end of the question. So if that star's there, it is required. And you can see on the paragraph one that she wrote, she did not make that required, so there is no red star. So now what happens is if you make a question required and someone does not respond to that question, when they hit submit at the end, they will not be able to turn their test in. It will redirect them to go and answer that question.
Can you do that when, say, you want, I select file upload?
Mm-hmm.
So can you put required?
I don't know.
Yes.
I believe so.
Yes. If not, we're going to get to
get
that
there.
one, but I'm
We'll
almost
get there.
100%
I'm
sure.
pretty sure the answer is yes as well. But I'm not 100%.
Okay, so our next question type is a checkbox. So we're going to go ahead and create a checkbox type question.
So I have a question for you.
Okay.
Who is the president? I'm not getting political. I'm doing this for a reason.
Okay.
Or you could do, or who is, I don't know. And you don't have to do president. You can do any person. I just want to show them how you can add pictures. Oh, let's go ahead. So I was thinking president because I know Google will have all sorts of pictures on there. You can. So how about what is on the menu for dinner tonight? We'll stick with the food thing.
There we go.
Better?
I like that.
I did a forum in the past for, I think, Becky Youngman when we were doing social studies, or maybe it was Maureen Carter, I don't remember, when the election was coming up. And our little ones don't know, I mean, they may know the name, but they may only know the face. So it's nice to have not only the words, but the pictures as well. So I want to show you how to do that. So, for example, what is on the menu for dinner? So, Rebecca, what are you having for dinner? Putting you on the spot.
I don't know. My husband makes dinner for us. I'm lucky.
Mine too. Okay, so how about shrimp for number one?
Oh, you know what? I think we are having shrimp and grits.
There you go. Shrimp for number one. And then what Rebecca is going to do is this is the icon for image in Google. So if I click that, I'm going to be able to add an image. And I'm going to go to the top, and notice you have all these options. So I can upload my own picture. I can take a snapshot of my screen. I can grab it by URL. I can grab it from my own photo albums of things that I've taken in the past that are in my Google Photos. I can grab it from my Google Drive, or I can search the internet for it. So here are all the pictures, again, that are licensed for commercial reuse. Or non-commercial reuse. Commercial reuse with modifications. So you can change it as much as you want. So we can insert that. So what we've done is we've checked the one that we want. So you can see it's got a blue check and it's got that blue box around it. And then we click select. Right? So my dinner tonight is P.F. Chang's because I have a gift card and we have to go to the mall because it's Build-A-Bear Day. So we're going to Chinese food at P.F. Chang's.
I don't know if we'll get anything from that.
Let's see if P.F. Chang's comes up. I don't know if it will. You may have to put Chinese food. There you go. Okay, Amy, what you having for dinner? Steak. I was going to say, what time should Blake and I be there? And what's great
So
about this?
unfortunately for this checkbox question, I'm just going to check all three.
Yeah, right?
So I'll see everyone tonight. Add option. And when you add option, you can put the text in or just the picture.
I did one.
Yeah.
And I was trying to do it.
Yep, add option, not add other, add option.
If I don't say anything, I was fine. I'm sorry. I have to do the same thing again though, search and then bring pictures up again.
You can do it as many times or as few times as you want. It's just an example.
I know, I was just trying to practice so that
Yeah. The more you do it, the more you know it, right?
while I'm with you guys, so I'll have to call you on the phone. I was gonna call you last night and I figured.
Yay, look at you. Sorry, I'm grabbing some information I'm going to need for the next one. Good idea. Good point. Didn't even think about it. DVD, how am I going to critique it? What do I have a DVD player? Okay, will do. That's not where I am. Where's my score? There it is. Okay, everybody good on adding pictures to question types? Great. We are going to move on to the next question type. So go ahead and click that plus sign. Now we're going to do a drop down. So as Melissa stated earlier, doing a drop down, let's say we have all of our schools, right? We want them to be able to choose their school. I don't want to type in all of the schools. That is not a time saver. So all you need to do is go into your sheet and strip out that column that you already have of all those schools. You go into option 1 and you paste it, and there they are. Yeah, go into a spreadsheet. Like that's what I just did. I went and grabbed these schools out of the spreadsheet that I have. I went back into, chose my question type, and now I'm going to go, oops, too far. Too far. Yeah, I'll just type select school. Good, question type. Okay, so when I'm looking at it here, I see all the schools because I'm in preview, I'm in edit mode. If I want to see what this is going to look like to the end user, I'm going to go up here to the top where you see the eyeball right next to where the palette was. I'm going to preview this form. So now I can scroll down. I can see my menu options. Don't they look good? Yum. But the really cool part is that huge form I just created because I put in 100 and however many schools. I don't think I put them all in for some reason. But now I can just select my school, and then I can just click my letter W. Hits me down to my W, so I don't have to scroll. You don't need it anymore. You can just copy and paste. They updated it. You don't have to do it. I have, but let's talk about that. Okay. Yeah. Yes, question.
It works best off an Excel spreadsheet because then each thing is in a cell and it's a list. And so that way it'll automatically make each line a separate one. I don't know that there's a way to copy it from the district website.
There is not.
If you need it, I have two different ones, one with just schools and one with the entire district, departments, divisions, everything. And the one that Rebecca just pulled up was different from what I have. So hers may be laid out a little bit different. I think hers is laid out with, mine's everything A to Z. And hers, I think, was elementary, middle, and high, broken out. Yes. Yes.
What you are saying is it's best to have your drop
A
down.
list. Yep. Yep.
To my knowledge, it has to be. It has to be either Sheets or Excel and able to strip that information for it to auto-populate. Otherwise, you're typing it. Yeah.
The other thing that's important is you're not always going to do schools like Marcia said. So when you go up here, let's say Winbrook is out of order, I can click on Winbrook. And do you see these little 6 dots over here? That enables me to drag and drop it to where I want it in the list. So if you all of a sudden have this list and Frank says, hey, add this in too, you are then able to add it in and reorder it without retyping everything. Good? And again, there's always that add option at the end. So if, let's say, their school isn't up there, maybe it's a charter school and we only have district schools, that will now enable them to add their own. Okay.
Question, Janice. Oh.
Go ahead, Marcia.
Maybe something that we'll deal with later. If you want to direct someone somewhere.
Yes,
Yes.
we are going to do
We're
page
getting there.
branching in just a second. Yeah. Yeah. We're going through the question types first, and then we're going to create new sections, and then we're going to show you how to jump. So if you answer the question this way, it goes to this section. If you answer the question this way, it goes to that section. We're going over that, yes.
Yep. Cheryl. Okay, so Cheryl was following instructions on how to drop it in a file. You need one column at a time. So Cheryl has about 6 columns highlighted. You can only highlight one column, not all of that, unfortunately. Okay, so it's got to be like a one-word thing, or it will not copy in.
So basically, if you're inside a spreadsheet and you just copy that column, and then you go, oh, that's not the right one. If you go into the question, you make it drop down. You're just going to paste it. Control V. Oh, it didn't work. Boo.
Sorry, you don't have to
Oh,
save what?
I did it totally wrong.
Nope, you just copy that row, Control C, go back to your form, Control V. That's it, look at that. Voila! Magic. Control C is copy, Control V is paste. V as in Victor.
And Control Z, which I just made a huge mistake and added 1,000 columns into that question, but you didn't notice because I hit Control Z really quick, and it's an undo. So
Control Z is our friend. How many times have you like, how'd that happen? What was that? Control Z, it'll bring you back. Save your life.
yes.
Yep, it undoes whatever you last did.
I'm going to delete this question. Okay. All right. So we're moving on. We did drop down. I don't want that anymore. Delete. Goodbye. Okay. So now we're going to go with what happened to the rest of my, where's the rest of my form?
You know, it's interesting.
Oh, there it
on the YouTube, it looks good, but up on our screen, it was white for a while.
Yeah.
Mark.
Okay. So now we're going to get to that file upload. Okay. So
And now it's the opposite. On YouTube, it's white or blank. Now it's back.
it's a delay.
Okay.
So files will be uploaded to the form owner's Google Drive. Respondents will be required to sign in to Google when file upload questions are added to a form. Make sure you only share this form with people you trust because anything they upload is going into your Google Drive. Okay? Keep that in mind.
And again, anything in Google is subject to a public records request. So make sure that all of these things are 100% school. And if you have students' names in there, you probably want like first name, last initial, or last initial, first, or the opposite, something, maybe student ID only, but you don't want everything all in one line for that student.
Okay, so you can say upload whatever you want them to upload here. So you have a couple of options. You can allow only specific file types. So if you want PDFs, you can limit it to a PDF. If you only want a video or an image, you can limit it. You can also choose multiples. So if you want them to be able to do a document or a spreadsheet or a presentation, let's say you are trying to differentiate instruction and you are giving options for the types of output for projects, then this is several options. You can also just have anything available. It's your choice.
Now, and just keep in mind also, like for example, I asked everyone to upload their Google certificate showing that they passed the exam. Some people have it as a PNG file, which is an image. Some people saved it as a PDF. Some people saved it as they uploaded it into a document and sent it in. So if you were to narrow this down, you may limit the ability for the user that isn't as confident in their ability to transform a file from one type to another, and they may not be able to upload exactly what you're looking for. So you may want to keep that broad just for that purpose. Janice, you had a question? Or you want me to come over there? I'm coming over.
Okay, so you also have the option for how many, the maximum number of files that can be uploaded for that particular question. So 1, 5, or 10. And you have your maximum file size as well. You can change that as needed. You can make it required or not, the same as you can with all questions. So that answered your question, Sandy. It is, you can make it required. I'm just going to allow everything. You can upload anything except for a video, I'm going to say, because videos can be very large sometimes. I don't want my form to break because someone puts their 30-minute YouTube video on here. JPEG is an image. Yes. Okay. All right, our next question type, unless we have any other questions about file upload. Okay. So next we are jumping to linear scale. So linear scale, you know.
And somebody asked whether or not that upload file could be mandatory or not. I don't know if she pointed that out or not because I was working with Janice.
But
did. Yes, you can require it.
So with your linear scale, I'm going to choose. Why did my meh not come up? Let me see. What do I like? We'll go with sad. Oh, no. Oh, that's the wrong box. I don't want it there. Boo. So you can put your labels in, and you can say, how was the training today? And I'll say, it was meh. And then if I want to be cute, I can pull one of my emojis. This is really good, works well with our younger kids because they might not know what meh or yucky is, but they know what the sad face is. And then I can put, how was the training today? Awesome, of course, awesome. Exclamation point. And then, of course, I'm going to pull my little smiley face. Yay.
You got to love Rebecca and her emojis.
Oh, where did my meh go? I'm going to find it. Okay, so We put it in. Let's take a look at what that looks like. We're going to make that required. Oh, it took my emojis away. Why? Boo.
I don't think it likes emojis.
It let me put them in before. So this is what your linear scale is going to look like when you show it in your form. So it looks a little bit different. I always like to show that in preview mode. So it's going to do from 1 to 5. Linear scale. Okay, any questions on linear scale? Pretty simple. All right, next question type. We're going into that multiple choice grid. So I'm going to say, what am I going to say?
Mr. Meyerson wanted to know how you got your emojis. He was jealous he didn't have any.
Oh, see this beautiful, it's hard to see, but let me make my screen bigger. This unicorn.
She has what's called a Google extension. So if you go into the Chrome web store, you can search for the Emoji One, which is the name of her extension. And that will appear up at the top bar, just like where she is there. And it'll give you all these emojis that you can copy and paste into wherever you are. Apparently, Google Forms does not like them, though.
Yeah, but I used it for the PLA and it stayed. So I don't know if it's something I'm doing now.
Did you have a word and an emoji?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, Bill and I did it, and it was the same ones. Another reason I use emojis is for my drive. If you put an emoji in front of whatever your file name is, it puts it at the top. And if you have, I don't know about you, but I usually have, you can see how many tabs I have open right now. And a lot of times all you can see is the picture. So if I'm looking for that Google file folder, I can look from my computer. I know that's my EdTech folder. So it's just a little shortcut for me. I'm sorry? The Chrome Web Store? Just Google Chrome Web Store. I keep it here. I keep it as a bookmark. I take all my bookmarks, I take all the text out and just have the logos, so I have a lot of real estate. So I keep mine. I shouldn't have done that. I went out of my form. But it's chrome.google.com/webstore. Let's see if I can get back on my form by going back. Yep, yay. Okay, what were we doing? We were doing the question. Okay, so we're doing multiple choice grid. I got to figure out something to do here. This is going to be matching. So we're going to match some things. So we could do match. No, I don't want a multiple choice. I want multiple choice grid. So we could match the state. So we could say Alabama. And I don't know, let's say Florida. I'm like, what do you know the capital? Embarrass myself here.
Wait, I used to know all of them. Maryland, Annapolis.
Oh, I can't even spell that. Give me something easy.
You can't spell Maryland? Maryland.
Maryland, but Annapolis.
A-N-N-A.
Okay, I'll just do those three because I know those.
Okay.
All right, so column 1.
This is the multiple choice grid. So basically what Rebecca is doing, see, I just forgot your name for a second, is we are going to create a matching scenario. So here are all of our states. We typed them in individually. And then in the columns row, we're adding all of our capitals. And then when you preview this, you're going to see how it's going to show which state goes with which capital. And then they're going to be able to click in those radio buttons, Alabama's Montgomery, Florida's Tallahassee, and Maryland's Annapolis. That's what I was trying to verbally explain before. So
Yes.
The other, I'm not sure how it's going to look. We're going to find out. So that's how that matching grid, choice grid works. And then we're going to add one more for our last question, which is going to be a checkbox grid. Oh, and it's the same. There's just check boxes instead of radio dials. So you could select more than one for each thing. So you may want to even make this back with your food What's Melissa, Rebecca, and Bill having for dinner? And then you can put the options, and maybe they're going to have shrimp and steak for dinner. A little surf and turf. Who knows? Obviously, there's a lot of real world things that would apply to this as opposed to dinner, but we were on a food thing, so I figured stay with the trend.
These are ones we obviously have not used frequently.
Yeah, that one's new. The checkbox grid is new. The multiple choice grid has been there.
So what do I like to eat? Unfortunately,
Yes.
everything.
Me too.
So choose all that apply. All right, so we're going to back one more, and we're going to go for our date time. So this is going to allow you to choose a date.
Pretty simple. Like I said, that just brings up that calendar for you so that you can scroll through the months and find the day. Maybe you remember it's the second week in July, but you don't remember the exact number. You could pull up that calendar and it'll give you month, day, year as a response. And you might as well just add that time one too now, and then we'll show them what both look like at the same time. So she's going to click that add to add another question. She's going to say choose a time and make that a time question. And then we're going to preview our grid or our form. So if you look down at the bottom, choose your date. When she hits that down arrow, that calendar comes up. You can either scroll month to month, or you actually can jump as well. So if you click that down arrow there, you can jump to whatever month you're looking for and year. Pick one, anyone? And then the time again is just like you see, you put that time in for you. So 12 a.m., maybe make it p.m. And those are all the question types. Are there any questions on how we did any of this? We can go back and review if you'd like. Okay, Cheryl first. Hold on. Go ahead. No. Choose date. It's not going to work in edit mode. You have to actually preview it to actually see that calendar.
You're not putting in dates for them to choose. If you were putting in dates for them to choose, you would do that as a multiple choice or a drop down.
Or
This is any time. So when you put that in the form and they fill out the form, they're going to choose any date they want. Right. Like this is, I'm in preview mode. This is what the end user is going to see. So if I'm in edit mode, I'm going to see this. This is what you're looking at. If you go into the eyeball and you look at preview, this is what your form is going to look like to your end user. And then they're going to be able to select the date that they are interested in.
Okay, are you ready? Now is when we get complicated. Okay?
Are we ready?
Are we ready? So now we want to do, we're going to make, since Yetta's here, we're going to tailor this to Yetta for her. And we're going to make a form with branching on sports. So we're going to, should we make a whole new one?
That's fine with me if you want to.
Let's make a new one. So there's two ways to do that. You can either click that back arrow that Rebecca just hit in the top right corner and hit the left arrow, and it'll take you back to your forms interface, and you can start another blank question. Or you could have just gone to another tab and opened forms again and created another one. So basically the difference is the old form we just created is now not open anymore on your computer. So we're going to create a blank form. And again, if you want to make this your own form, please, we're just going to use a sport example for Yetta because we want to make it applicable. So the first thing we're going to ask is, we're going to skip the form description, and we're going to write, what sport do you play? And we have basketball and baseball and football and soccer. And we'll leave it at that for now. And then we're going to add another question. So this question is going to be, think with me. I'm trying to think, okay, if I play soccer, what days of the weeks am I available for practice? Or what days are we going to have games? Or like,
You need to have a new section that'll send it to.
yeah, but I thought we had to make another question first and then we make the section. That's how I do it.
I usually do the section. It doesn't
Okay,
do it your way.
either way.
I don't care. Give me a question.
So what days of the week can you practice? Can you attend practice?
Again, love Google. When I asked for days of the week, it automatically populated all the days of the week for me. So that saved me, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, a minute at least, without having to type all those in. I clicked that all. Of course, Saturday and Sunday are out. That's family time, so we're taking those off.
And I love the way it automatically made it a checkbox so that you could select more than one, which was really nice. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and make this a section, or make a section break. So I'm going to go back and add my section. So first I kind of think it through like, okay, well, if there, and let's say this is the soccer section, right? So we're going to title this section soccer so that I know if they selected soccer, they're going to come down here for the practice. What days of the week are they going to practice? And what I may do, this might be kind of cool because I can duplicate the question and have one for each of the different sports so that we have branching. So now that I have sections here, I can make it so that that question up there, which sport do I play, goes to whichever section based on my option, what I chose. So for example, where'd she go?
Section, you lost us.
Can you take over for a second? Kristen's doctor's calling.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Okay, so right here, that toolbar that's chasing us around, it's going low. That minus, or the equal sign, that's how you add sections. I'm not really sure where she's going. We obviously do things a little differently. She's going to pick it back up. So I'm going to let you do it because this isn't the way I do it.
So we have a question down below that says, what day of the week, right, are you available for practice? So if we go back up, we've created this section. What I would probably do is duplicate that session or that question 3 times first. So to do that, we can just hit duplicate. And so we have 3, and we'd probably make the 4 sections too. So one would be a soccer section, a baseball section, a basketball section, etc. Okay? So let's go ahead and make sections as well. Am I making this too complicated? I am.
Yeah,
Do you want to do it a different way?
I just think we should start simple.
Start simple. Go ahead. Scratch that and start simple. I'm sorry. I apologize. This is Melissa going on a tangent. I apologize.
Let's just leave it like that. Okay.
Okay.
So we're just going to make it super simple. Okay.
There you go.
So let's start with just the two. What sport do you play, basketball or soccer, right? Okay, so the way we created that section was on the equal sign, we clicked add section, right? So we have section 2, our soccer section, right? So we're going to add that question, which I shouldn't have deleted all of them. What days of the week? Oop, I can't spell.
Yeah, so now she has 2 sections, actually 2 of 2. So she only has 1 right now. She has the question with the first, what sport do you play, and a section 2 for soccer. And then maybe do we want to create one more section for basketball?
Yeah, we'll do it in a second, though. Let's just go slow. Okay, so we're in section 1, right? Okay. You can. Here's my answer choice where I have to choose the answer. Yeah, that's what I usually do too.
So here you go. Ready? We have our base basketball section and our what sport do you play, basketball or soccer? We're going to click these 3 little dots here, and those 3 little dots only work if we have another section to go to. So we click the 3 little dots, and we want to say, go to this section based on your answer. Okay? So once I select that, then you can see next to my question, I have the ability to say, okay, I want to go to the soccer section if they click soccer. And on the top one, we're going to make another section for basketball the same way. And I'm going to make that's why I was making my sections first.
But if you don't have that?
You have to create the sections before you have it based on your answer where you're going to go. I'm sorry, I was a little complicated, but I was complicated for a little bit of a reason.
Yep, we're going to go back. We're going to show you an example, and then we'll walk you through it from scratch again.
Yep.
How about that?
Yeah.
That's going to make it
We'll start over. We'll have a redo.
No, what I want to know is, I want to be able to correct things when I make a mistake.
Yeah, of course.
I have branched off and stuff, and now I have what sport do I play in section 1, and I can't get any responses in.
So in here, so what she has right now is section 1, what sport do you play, but no question. So she needs to add a question. How do we do that?
plus question.
The plus sign. And so then we can add our question. And so actually what's up here, you have your question as the section title. You may just want to copy that, paste it down into the question, and call that the sports section if you want.
Okay, so basically this is an example of one branch or 2 branches. The first question is, what sport do you play? Depending on if they answer basketball or soccer, it's going to send them to the basketball section or the soccer section. So we created the sections, we added a question, not a very good one, that was my fault. So now inside of this question for basketball, out to the right, we're going to choose for you to go to section 2 if you answer basketball, or go to section 3 if you answer soccer. Correct. So let me show you what it looks like in preview. So in preview, you're only going to see that first question. This is what the end user is going to see. If I choose basketball, it's going to send me to the basketball section. Oops, I didn't mean to basketball. I play soccer. I'm going to change it to soccer. It's going to send me to the soccer section. Okay? You want to try it? You want to try it again? Start over? Yes. Yes. Yes, you can do that.
We can do that too. So I just emailed you a form I created. Do you want to open
Sure.
that up real quick and I can talk them through it? That way you'll have a visual and then we'll walk you through exactly how to do it again.
So should there be a what days of the week for the basketball section as well?
Yes. Yeah.
And I can duplicate that?
And you can duplicate the question and then just drag that question to the other section. So you have to click the question first. There you go. And then just below it. So if you scroll down just a little bit, with 2 fingers on your trackpad, there you go. Duplicate.
How you delete?
So then you want to add the other section.
I need to divide these two up is what you're saying. And when I click here, it's gonna put it in between there, right?
There it is. So down here. We have 5 now.
That's what I was missing before. It doesn't say move to the section. I'm thinking maybe because, look, it's not, because I got that far, that's why I was confused. And mine doesn't say that.
All right, I'm just going to talk through this. So I submitted this a bunch of times just so you can kind of see what the output's going to look like. Okay, so just to walk you through it, section 1 is asking my question. What sport do you play? Now, depending on the answer, and we did that by clicking on the 3 little dots and clicking that choice to go to section based on answer. You have to choose that. Then if I'm basketball, if I choose basketball or yes, I'm going to go to that basketball section. If I chose soccer, it's going to take me to the soccer section. Now notice that the next section, the basketball section, underneath that question, if you don't change after section 2, submit form, it's going to go to section 3. You don't want that. You want them to either go to the next section that you want them to go to, or you want that form to be submitted. So by doing that, the soccer section is the last section, so it's going to automatically submit the form after you fill out the last section no matter what. If I go into preview mode and I choose basketball, it's going to send me to the basketball section. I'm going to choose my times and I'm going to submit. If I choose soccer, it's going to send me to the page for choosing, and then I'm going to submit. So now I have 6 responses. Do you want to look at responses? Or should we wait for that?
Yeah, let's wait. Let's go to the one that I sent you in the email. Complicated, but I think it will give them an idea of what's
This is just doing the form. It's not edit, yeah. I don't know.
Super complicated.
No? Okay, never mind. That's fine.
How about we spend a couple of minutes practicing the branching, and Melissa can walk around and help you with those questions, and then we're going to move on to responses.
She doesn't have the three dots where you can change, go to whatever based on the section, or it's not there. You got it?
I was in the wrong type of.
Answering an email, the text from the office.
So I have to add one more thought in. Once you get your form the way you want it, I highly suggest you take your form. So hit that preview and answer the questions in every which way you could possibly answer them, and make sure that you get the responses or the options that you want. Because even when I make them, I always have done something wrong and I have to redo it. So definitely go through, check everything, make sure everything's perfect, and then go for it.
What if you want to get, you need to edit the survey after you put it out there and submit it, and you can't pull it back and edit it?
Okay, one of the biggest issues I've seen walking around is that the question that you're trying to branch is not a multiple choice question, but it's a checkbox question. If it's a checkbox question, they can choose as many of those responses as they want, so there's no way to send it to a specific session based on multiple answers. So always make sure your branch question is a multiple choice. Okay, I think we're going to move on because for the sake of time, just to finally get through the rest of the settings and forms so we can get the sheets. And again, if anybody has questions afterwards about specifics, we're here. Okay, so.
We're going to do quizzes and settings and all that first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, we're going to do settings. We had a specific question about that, and we're going to look at the data as well. Okay, so if you're looking at your form or you're looking on the screen, we looked at the palette, we looked at the eyeball for preview. Now we're going to look at the settings. So the settings is the gear or the cog, and this is where you're going to be able to customize your form for who can answer it. Also, the end response at the end when you submit the form, you can personalize that as well. So let's go ahead and click into our settings. So our general settings, we have the option to collect email addresses. So I believe we had a question earlier about can we make this anonymous? If you wanted to make your form anonymous, you would not collect email addresses. You would also take off the requirement that restricts it to school district of Palm Beach County users because that is going to make them log into the domain in order to receive this form.
So this is also important to know when you're sending your forms to people outside of the county, like your parents or business people or anyone outside of palmbeachschools.org, you need to make sure that that is checked off. Also, I'm sure that we've encountered where somebody sent us a form and all of a sudden we don't have access to that form and we can't fill it out. It wants us to log in with our palmbeachschools.org email into Google or what have you in order to access that form because it won't allow us otherwise. So those are two really important pieces right there.
Personally, when I send out a form and I want, let's say you have people signing up for a training through a Google form. If you collect their email addresses, then you can send them a response receipt and make it always. This is kind of important. We just discovered this with the summer literacy and some of the other trainings we've had this summer is people fill out the form. They sign up for 3 days of training, but it was over a 2-week period, and they don't remember what they signed up for. If you make it where they always get a receipt of their response, then they're going to have an email that has everything that they selected. So this can be very helpful for the end user, also for you, so you're not getting bombarded with calls and emails. Oh, I signed up. Can you see when I was supposed to come?
That's also new. That used to have to be an add-on, and now it's just built into Google, which is really nice.
So again, with that, if you're limiting to one response, then they cannot edit afterwards. If you want your respondents to be able to edit after submission.
No, they can edit after.
Not if you limit it to one response.
They can only, okay, so.
You're right.
Limiting to one response is basically for like ballot stuffing. So if you get a school rating and you have the A school money and all the principals or the teachers and educators, everybody's trying to figure out what to do with the money, you want to send out a form and say, do you want your own iPad? Do you want your own Chromebook? Or do you want this? And everybody has to vote. You obviously don't want everyone to pick to be able to stuff that box, right, and get their option. You want everyone to be able to vote once and only once. So that's where that button comes in, limit to one response. However, this edit after submit, let's say I decided that I want that iPad, but after talking with my colleagues, they all chose the Chromebook, and maybe I really want a Chromebook instead. I can go edit my response, but I'm still only allowed to respond one time. Okay? Editing after responses, there are ways to turn these forms into tests and quizzes and things like that. So editing after submitting is pretty important when it comes to schoolwork. You may want them to go back and redo that exam because they weren't successful the first time. So you may want that box checked or not. And then that brings you to the last box, which is also super important, because if you do use this as a quiz or a test or what have you, you don't want them to see what everybody else chose. So you want to make sure that's off. However, if you're doing it for that A school money and you're trying to figure out what you're going to buy for your site, having that checked, that way you see, oh, everybody wants the Chromebook. Cool. We're all getting Chromebooks.
Right. That just is a transparency for your staff. This is the way everyone's voting.
And it doesn't show who. It just shows a pie graph or a bar graph or whatever is most appropriate as to what the selections were.
We're going to look at those in just a minute. So, all right, presentation. Just a few things here. Show the progress bar. Shuffle question order. This comes in really handy in the classroom if you're using this as a quiz. Show link to submit another response. So this one is good when you have people just continually filling out a form. It's a good one to have. They use them in the media centers a lot for check-in. And then here's a question from the crowd. Can you change that message at the end? Absolutely. This is where you do it. Your confirmation message. It's going to default to your recording or your response has been recorded, but you can put anything in there that you want, personalize it. You can also put links in there as well, so you can have a hyperlink. You can put fireworks, yes, but that's an add-on.
So I want to just talk 1 second about the progress bar. If your form is super long, please, oh, please, oh, please have that progress bar, because otherwise people answer 1 or 2 questions and it keeps going and going and going, and they give up and they just X out and they're done. They're not finishing your form. But if they see that they're 90% done and there's only a little bit left, they're more apt to continue and complete the form. So please use that if your form is lengthy. Even kids, when they take that test, they want to know that they're almost done. So on here, what we've done is the last tab is for quizzes. So this will self-grade your form for you so that kids can get immediate response, they can get their feedback, etc. It can grade it for them. So if you click Make This a Quiz, it then allows you to go in and select the correct answers on your form. And we'll show you that in just a second. I want to go through this first. So quiz options. Do you A, immediately after each submission want to release the grade, or B, later after manual review? You definitely want to take the quiz first, maybe a couple times as yourself, to make sure that it's grading it the way you think it should be grading it. Know that like short answers are case specific. It does allow you to put in multiple options. So like, for example, if the answer is basketball, you can have a capital B and a small b and basket space ball if you have little kids. And that way, you know, any variety of the way that they might type it can be accepted as a correct answer.
However, if they put b-ball and you didn't choose that as a choice, it's going to mark it as wrong.
Yes.
So the manual review
sometimes is very helpful. Yep. And then the last one. I answered my quiz. Do I want my students or my whoever's filling out my form to see the missed questions? Do I want them to see the correct answers? If this is a test in a classroom and I'm in first period and I see all the correct answers, I'm going to go tell everybody in second period so they don't get it wrong. So you may or may not want that checked. And point values. Know that point values, that's my biggest pet peeve with this. If you want to differentiate your questions and weight them, that's a great thing. But if that box is checked, you must put a point value on every single question. So I oftentimes just uncheck that. But I'm not in the classroom, so it may be different if I was. I don't know. Oh, yeah. 2 fingers. Oh, you're scrolling.
Oh, I see.
There.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
So what happened with Marcia, she didn't have all 3 options. She was scrolling here, and the background for her form was actually going up and down. She had to be in here to scroll. So just in case you're having the same problem, that's what happened with her, which is kind of weird. You would think you're on this little box in the middle, it would scroll that, but it apparently didn't.
Rebecca say, is that an add-on to show, mine doesn't show up, it's like faded, it's not a link to submit another response?
I think you have it, okay, so if you make it where they can only answer it once, show link to submit another response is grayed out. Yes. Yep. So now, remember how we told you Google saves everything for you? This is the one piece where you're going to have to actually click that save button, or maybe there's a couple, but this is one of the few where you actually have to hit that save button. So now here we are in our exam, and now when I click on that question, I have this whole other thing here where it says, here's my answer key. And so now when I click the answer key, it actually allows me to choose the answer. And remember, she had that point value checked, so she has to add points. So she makes sure that she gives the right amount of points for everyone. She can also add answer feedback. So if they got it wrong, what do you want it to tell the student or the person filling out your form? And if they got it right, what do you want that feedback to be? You can also, if you look down at the bottom left, you can add links for them to go back to review the material. You can add YouTubes for them to watch things to review the material. So that's pretty nice.
Okay, I'm going to take off the quiz because it'll mess up our data chart. Did I? Boo. Thank you.
Great review. So we're going to hit that cog again. We're going to go back to that quiz tab, unmake this a quiz so that we can actually take it and show you some responses so that we can move into Google Sheets.
Okay, so if you're back in your edit mode of your form, up at the top, you're going to see questions. And to the right of that, you're going to see the responses. So I answered my form, you can see 6 times. I've had 6 responses.
So how did you do that?
I went into preview mode and I submitted the form.
Okay. So if I'm not in the room with you, so I don't have preview mode, how do I send my form out?
You're going to locate the send button on the top right-hand corner. You're going to have some choices. You can email it. I can email this directly to Melissa. I've invited you to fill out this form. This is going to give her a link. I can also include the form in her email so she doesn't have to link out. 1 extra click saved, put the form inside. There's some other options. I can make this a link, so I can embed this link into my website or into somewhere you can embed things. I can also send it as a link, put it on a page or an email. And there's my HTML embed as well.
And before we get to responses, I want to show you one more thing. So we have all this. Oh, and you know what? Remember how we showed you how we made the link for this presentation a short URL? I can click that little shorten URL button, and it will take that big long URL and make it smaller for me. And I don't have to go to anywhere. I just click the button, and it becomes smaller.
You can change the name, but it will not take you to your form.
So the answer is no.
Sorry.
Unfortunately, no.
Yeah, unfortunately, you cannot.
However, Marcia, you can go on the internet, copy the long URL, and search. You can create custom URLs, and you can use that way. I've done that a few times. It works nice. Okay, so before we go to our responses, I want to address those three little dots up there next to the right of the send button. Those are a lot of the features we've seen in other Google products. So real quick, we can undo, which is what? Control what? Z. We can make a copy of our form. So let's say instead of basketball and soccer, we want the exact same form with baseball and lacrosse. So we could do that. We can move that to the trash. We can get a pre-filled link. So things are already semi-filled out for our participants. So they have less to do, which they appreciate. We can print it. But the next one is the huge one. I can add collaborators. So let's say Rebecca and I had to make a form together, and we both wanted edit access to that form so that we could change things and edit things and et cetera. That's where you're able to do that. So this is that same share screen that you guys are used to. It's just located in a different spot in forms. So we wanted to make sure we pointed that out to you. Okay, what else was on there? I don't know anything. If you want add-ons, so on yours, you probably don't have that puzzle piece up there next to the color palette because you probably don't have add-ons yet. You can get add-ons by clicking here. That will take you to that special store for Google Forms for add-ons. And the one I recommend is Form Values. So Form Values basically stores all of the names of all of the schools for me. So when I use it, it automatically has the list of the schools. It has the list of the entire department. I say which list I want, and it automatically populates in there, and I don't have to go find my list in my Google Drive, copy it, come back here, paste it. It's just there for me. So I love my Form Values. So that was the three dots, and you went to add-ons. And then that takes you to that store, like we did last time. And then you can search it and find it. And again, there's specific add-ons only for Google Forms. So you probably want to go through them and see what works for you. Form Values.
Okay, so
and it's free, yes.
Yes. And if we have time at the end, we can look at some add-ons, but for time's sake, we're going to move forward. So next to the questions inside of your form is the responses. So I'm going to go ahead and click that responses button. This is going to show me a summary of the responses I've received so far. These are nice, pretty charts. So I've received 6 responses, 50% soccer, 50% basketball. What days of the week? Can my basketball people that have filled it out, Tuesday and Wednesday looks like the best time for them. My soccer people, they're looking like Wednesday and Friday. So I can easily visually determine what my end users' information they've provided for me. And these are nice, pretty charts. This is what your end user would see if you chose for them to see the summary of responses. They would not see individual responses, just like Melissa pointed out. This would be my individual. I could see each person's if I wanted to. They would only see the summary. So it would just give a percentage of who chose what, not individual names. So you're not going to have your next door neighbor going, why did you choose Chromebook? I want an iPad. So you don't have to worry about that. Now, the cool thing about this is, yes, those charts are great and they're wonderful for putting up in presentations, but you might really want to dig deeper, and you can do that by exporting this to a spreadsheet. So over here on the right, and this is live, so as people answered, if I wanted to see answers live, I could have the responses up, and as people answered, those charts would change. So creating my spreadsheet, I'm just going to click that green. It's going to ask me, do I want to create a new spreadsheet or do I want to add it to an existing spreadsheet? I'm going to create a new one. And now I have a Google spreadsheet. I have timestamped for any responses that came in. I didn't put in any email addresses, but if you were collecting email addresses, they would appear there. This is an example of like the anonymous form. So anyone could answer this. I don't have any information that would tell me who answered what. This would not be very good for what information I was trying to glean. But if you needed that information, you can make it auto. But you can then dig deep down into Sheets. I'm going to make this bigger. You want to take over for Sheets?
Okay. She can drive. I'll talk. We'll make that bigger. So it automatically populates all the responses for you here. My favorite tool is the filter tool. So a lot of this is Excel-esque, right? It's the same. You have all of the same tools, all the same toolbars. Pretty much it's identical. What I do, and she just made this big, but I'm a toolbar girl. So I turn on the filter almost immediately. So what I do is it's already in the top right corner, but occasionally I will hit, she's making it small again. Between the A and 1, that light gray box, if you select that, you've now selected the entire sheet. That way you can't miss anything. So I sometimes hit that just to make sure I'm going to get everything. And then I go up here to the second to last one. That's a little filter. It kind of looks like a funnel, right? So I select my filter. No, just hit the filter. And you can see that now at the top of every row, I have that green little funnel, right? So I can sort by whatever column I want. So if I want to sort by alphabet, if I click that little filter, I can sort A through Z, and it will automatically take all of my rows and all the information and reorganize them so that it's done basketball first, soccer second. So it's alphabetized for me. The other thing that's nice is if I hit that filter again, I can get rid of things. So let's say, here's all my data, but I only want to worry about the soccer people. I don't care about the basketball people right now because that's later. We're going to worry only about soccer. So I normally clear everything and just check soccer. Because I don't want the blanks included. I don't want basketball included. I only want to see soccer. And I click OK. And watch what happens. Everything goes away but my soccer. Now, here's something important. If I am searching for something and that whatever it was on the basketball side and not on the soccer side, it is not going to search things that you have filtered out. It is only going to search through what's on your screen, which is pretty important to know. Make sense? Okay. Are you guys good? Okay. So we can unfilter that by clicking that filter again. Select all. That way it's going to show everything again. Press OK. And you'll see that everything comes back the way it was. Questions on filters? That's my most favorite tool. Yes. Yep, and reorganizes everything based on that one column. So now let's say I want, this is not the best example, but for example, if we had first name, last name, and we want to first sort it by the last name column and then sort it by the first name column. We could also do data. So up in our top menu bar, we're going to go to data, and we're going to I guess you have to highlight everything first because it's sort range, it's grayed out. So click that between the A and the 1 again, and then do data, sort range, down, there. And now I have the ability, okay, so let's pretend that column C was the last name. So I'm going to sort first by column C from A to Z, and then I'm going to add another column to sort by, and maybe this one's going to be D. Let's say that's where the first name is, and we're going to sort A to Z, and then I can click sort, and it will automatically redistribute my data based on my preference. Was that clear? I felt like it was confusing. We're okay? If I felt like it was confusing, I don't know. Okay, should we work on formulas and things? So first I'm going to teach you the magic button. The magic button is phenomenal. The magic button is the explore button. And we played with this last time we were together with slides, but this time it's just so awesome. So if I click this, it's going to automatically do all of these things for me without me even asking it to. So have you ever seen, look, it's got graphs for me, it's got which days of the week for me, it's everything, it's all right there. And what I love also is, you know how the sheets, sometimes you want like every other row a different color so that you can see it clearly. Look how it's right there. You just choose your color. Like, isn't that beautiful? It's the magic button. It does all the stuff that you want to do. It's already done for you. And you just hit it. It's perfect. Questions on the magic button that we call explore? No?
Insert.
Oh, yeah. So if we want to insert things, let's say we have this graph here, and like Rebecca did, she wants to insert it. Did you just drag and drop?
I clicked the button. But
So, yeah, so you can drag and drop it in, or you can hit that insert chart button, and it'll go right there. You can also move this to another sheet if you want. So you could hit that plus sign and have it go to another sheet. And that way, it's not in the middle of your data. It's on its own separate page. I think if you get out of there for a second, if you click on this picture, in the top right, there's 3. Whoa! It's moving. In the top right button, there's those 3 dots, and I believe it says copy to a new sheet there. And so that's a quick way to do that, copy to a new sheet. It'll create the new sheet for you and move that graph all by itself to the next sheet. So in the top right button, the 3 dots,
I see you.
move to own sheet. Boom. And so now it's already got the chart 1, and it's on its own sheet all by itself. Okay? This is advanced. Well, because basic Excel is, do we need to go through basic Excel? We can. Do we know how to make everything like money compared to time compared to date value? Okay, let's do that. So why don't you enter in column B, since there, or F it works. But yeah. She's going to enter all sorts of interesting information, and we're going to transform it. Either way, feel free to do whatever you'd like. You're welcome to do it on your own machine, or you're welcome to watch. A date, a time. And you can turn that Explorer off too, please. Okay, so if we're at the 100, let's say, and we wanted everything in our, let's say we want that to be money. Right off the bat, we can automatically, well, let's do it the hard way. Format, if you go up to the top, you see that where it says format. And then you see the first one is number. So we're going to do number, and then all of our different options are right here. So let's say that we want this to be currency. So I could make that currency right there. I could round my currency. So if it was 100.01, it would round it for me to $100. It's trying to make it 1,000 for me, which is just great. $100 versus $1,000. I love that. So we can just click currency. And notice how it automatically added the dollar sign, added the decimal point, and the cents value. Now, let's say that it's $100, but I don't need the decimal points. I just want it to say $100. Up in the top menu bar is where I use it. There's the, just below where she is, there's the adding decimal points or deleting decimal point button. So we can just delete that twice and get rid of the 2 cent areas. Make sense? Okay. So the same down below with the 0.123, you can change those decimal points there. You can also make that money if you'd like. And she did it the quick way this time. She used that little dollar sign on her menu bar, icon bar. What do we call that bar? Icon bar? Toolbar? Okay. So now let's go to the date. Oh, she made them all money. That's fine.
What are we doing? Date? Okay.
Date. So the date column, if I go to format, number, I can go to date down here. It's not giving me options. No, it typically gives you, if you wanted to say February 2nd, 2012, or February 2nd, or that's where we're at, format. Go to more formats, maybe?
No, it's format, that number, and then you go all the way down, and then the dates come up.
And then there's all sorts of options right there. Get out of that for a second, though, because it's never that hard. Do what Sandy said. Go to format and number, and the dates are all right there, she said. Yeah, but that's the same format. Well, I guess it's not. It's got 4 digits for the year. Okay, so I guess you have to go to more format. I didn't think it was that hard. Thought it was easier than that. There you go. More formatting shows you all sorts of ways to format that date. And the time as well, which is the next one, you can make that, have that PM. And then again, if you do more formats for that, it'll give you more options. It can tell you 12:53 p.m., a.m., all sorts of things. So here you go. Are you ready for this one? Blow your mind. Let's start here in A10 and type in 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm sorry. 1 in one cell, 2 in the next cell, 3 in the next cell. Oh, down. I'm just making you crazy. I'm sorry. 2, 3. There you go. Now, go back to the 3. Actually, highlight 1 through 3 for me. Grab that blue box that's going to be right there and drag that down. Oh. It automatically continues numbering for you. Okay? If I only had 1 and 2, it would keep going 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Something about the 1, 2, 3 makes it keep going all the way down. Now, if you want to delete all that, do the same thing, but do 2, 4, 6 this time. So if she highlights her 2, 4, 6 and grabs that handle, that blue box there, and goes down, what do we think it's going to do? It'll keep going multiples of 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 or whatever multiples you want. It will do it for you. It'll do 5, 10, 15, all that for you. What's also cool, it works for words as well. So if I write in 1, 2, 3, the actual word, it will do that. If I type in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it'll do that. If I have dates, for example, like July 12th, July 14th, July 16th, and I grab that little handle and I bring it down, it'll continue that date pattern for me. So any kind of a pattern it recognizes, it will continue that pattern for you. Pretty cool. That should hopefully save you some time. What else? Okay, how about, are you ready for this one? I want to add up all these numbers. So from 5 through 60, I want them to add that. So I'm going to click on this cell right here.
Right there, at the bottom. Tells you the sum.
I could do that. There.
It's $3.90.
So the Explore Magic button tells you right off the bat, but I want it so that all of my viewers will see it. So I'm going to click in box A64. I'm being more specific this time. Do you see this? I'm not telling her to just find all over. And then in the top right of my toolbar, do you see that sigma sign? That's my function. So if I click that and I click sum, it's going to give me, it's going to want to know which cells. So I'm going to have to highlight my 5 through 60. Had I already had them highlighted, it would have just popped that answer in there for me. So she highlighted rows, the 5 through 60. Those cells are there. If she presses return, it will produce the answer for you so that everyone can see it. Now, if I click on 390, if you look up, where'd it go? Where's the, go to view. You want the formula bar, please. So just above the A now, it's going to show you what the formula was that you put in there. So let's say later on you're adding numbers and all of a sudden that 390 you know is incorrect. You can click on that 390 and go up there and figure out, well, what was it adding before? Because something's wrong. And you can edit that to make it add the right thing. Now that same sum button, the sigma, that will do average. It will count how many you have listed in that column. So count if will tell you how many different, what's it called? So let's do that. So if you go up to the sum.
There it is already.
Oh,
Done for you.
count. There's 13 there. So she
I like to cheat.
she likes to cheat, but
They make it easy.
if they need it in front of you, then you have to actually put it in the cell. I know. We can get the average of all of those. But what's nice again is if I click back on that and I look up at my formula, I can tell exactly what they did so that I can replicate it if I need to in another place. What else can we teach them? I use this so much. It just is natural. What else? What are we thinking?
I'm not a sheets person. I only have like a gimmick that just came out, which I think is awesome. So I'll show off that because Google likes to hide Easter eggs in all their products.
Oh, yeah,
so
she
this
told
was
me
one
about
that
this.
came out on Twitter a couple weeks ago. So if you type the word pride into the cells, it turns your sheet rainbow. I love that. So I think that's awesome. All you do is type the word pride, one letter in each cell, and once you hit the tab after E, it turns your sheet rainbow. So they did this for Pride Week, and it's still there. And the only problem is if you delete one of the letters, the colors go away. So if you hide that first row, you don't have to worry about anybody deleting it, and it stays in rainbow. So none of my stuff is practical applications, but yeah, rainbow. So you're welcome. Now back to Melissa. As far as I know, it's only Google. It's a Google Easter egg, which I learned a few others today in Hangouts. Oh my gosh, I have so much fun with their Easter eggs. I know we have a couple of people in the crowd who are very experienced in using Excel and Google Sheets. Anybody want to share any tips or tricks? I'm talking to you, Patricia. Excellent. We may have a guest speaker coming into our... Oh, Cheryl has something she wants to share. Great. I mean, I am one for the Explore button. I mean, I don't feel very confident using Sheets. It's never been, I'm not a Sheets girl, but when they came out with the Explore and I didn't have to deal with those formulas, wow, that was a game changer for me. So now I actually feel like, okay, I can use Sheets. Yes, it's not that, you know, I'm not going to be able to replicate it in Excel, but I never use Excel anymore.
So I'm just going to put this out there. I'm not going to teach you how because your minds will explode because mine did. There are ways to make your sheet. So let's say you have one form and it populates data. You want to combine that form with another form to coagulate them and to make it populate a whole nother different spreadsheet. There are very easy ways to have one sheet go into the other sheet and automatically update based on people entering data and automatically calculate everything, all sorts of things. It's difficult, but if you at any point in time need that, make an appointment with Mike Goldstein.
Or Bill Gullion.
No, I'm joking.
Mike
I will
Goldstein,
help
Bill
you.
Gullion.
Mike is much better than me. He is like, I've never seen anybody work Excel spreadsheets like he does. It's amazing. Or Google Sheets. But I can do a little bit too. So I'm happy to help. What else, Amy? I'm calling you out, girl. Let's just go through the toolbars real quick and make sure that we know everything, or if there's anything we'll point out.
Yeah, like some of the things we talked about last time, you can still make comments and add notifications as well, which could be good. So if someone makes a change on your spreadsheet and you want to be notified, you can add that notification, which is can be very helpful.
This is actually pretty nice. So for the Trailblazer session, can you pull up the school folder links? Just so we can give them some ideas. Yep. Just type in school folder links and it should pop up. There you go. You had it went away. There you go. So what we've created is a series of spreadsheets for the Trailblazers for all sorts of reasons. So the first thing we did was we hyperlinked each school's data into here. So if I'm Calusa Elementary, I can click on that and I can share all of Calusa's data. And I think if you do that, it just takes to the folder, not the actual data. So you can go ahead and click on that. But it'll take me to Calusa's folder where all of Calusa's documents are specific to their school. And we did this because we wanted to make sure that Dr. Hibbler can see his school at Canal Point, but everybody else can't see Dr. Hibbler's school. So that school folders link is not only linked to the folder, but it's also permissioned. So if I'm not at Calusa, I'm not going to see any of this. I'm going to get an access denied. But because Rebecca and I have access to all of it, we got through. But if you were to do that, it wouldn't have worked. And then we can go through and you can see how, I'm trying to see. So he's got this thing all populating with one another. So he's got the school number, one whole file with just the school number so that it will automatically populate all the data and it'll all coagulate it together and make it like, I'm telling you, he's super genius. Would you mind, Dr. Hibbler, if we shared Canal Point, just so I can show him? So can you wiggle your way back to Canal Point for us? I think it's CA. Oh, yeah, KE Cunningham. Yep. And then if you can go to their status. Yep. So he's got it conditioned. So if they actually, can you go to the right for me? So he's got it conditioned where if they went ahead and accepted the nomination to be a Trailblazer, it'll automatically put it in green. So that's an option you can do. If not, it'll come up NA. If they requested a voucher, which is yet another form, it'll populate in here that says, yes, they did or no, they didn't. So he's got a series of forms. He's got one form for requesting the voucher, another form for passing the exam, another form for attendance, another form for acceptance. And they're all coming together on this one form and automatically populating whether or not, yes, they did it or no, they did not. Which is, yeah. So the possibilities in Trailblazers or in Google Sheets is amazing. So I wanted to share this possibility with you, not necessarily show you how because that would take us weeks. But the automatically coloring things is relatively simple. You just set up, I believe it's under tools or data. Can you, Rebecca, hit tools for me? It's either tools or data. I believe it's data. Nope, it's tools. So then I believe under that's notification rules. We can play with it later. But there is a way you can Google, and I can show you, how you just basically say, if there's a yes, it automatically turns green. And so it's just rules that you have to set up. And mostly if you Google it, how do I make a cell automatically turn green? It'll pop right up with a video tutorial of how to do it, step-by-step instructions. It's pretty amazing. The other thing that I love, since this is up, how many times do you get that first name, last name in one cell, and you need them split to 2 columns? So you have that one name, like, for example, she just had it, and she's moving all around and killing me. It's okay. So let's just pretend you just go to data.
Hold on, I'm in something, messing things up.
Uh-oh.
Things up. Just want to exit out of here. I did, and it didn't fix it. I'm like, what do I do?
Just click here. Click off. Click down in the white.
Okay.
There you go. Now, if you go to data, so you select, obviously, the one that has first name, last name, and then data, split text to columns. And it'll automatically take the first word in one column and the second word in the next column. Isn't that beautiful? I don't know how many times I've sat and like retyped stuff and moved and copied paste, and that does it for you. Beautiful, right? Any other questions? Yeah, I like that one. And that exists in Excel as well. Yep. Janice, did you have a question? Nope? Okay. Anything else? Is Bill coming down?
I don't think so.
Okay.
He was helping Mike.
Okay.
How they are.
Yeah, they're drowning. We have all these deadlines that just appeared. We had, just so you know, we had this planned out better. Mike was going to come teach sheets because he's, like I told you, the maestro, but he got called away with a deadline. So I said I'd fuddle through it. So that was me fuddling through it. Hopefully I did an okay job.
All I got is pride. That's all I got. Rainbows.
Any questions?
Hey, but you show that rainbow trick to people and they're going to be like, wow.
Right? It's so cool.
So, you learn that here.
Show us how to split a cell with Will.
Yeah, right?
Yes, and the Explore. Those are your friends.
The
Yeah.
magic button.
And you can see all that data. It's awesome. Insert those charts for the people who are visual learners like myself, not numbers people. So, stuff for everyone.
Okay, so for your homework, and I don't think we went over it last class either, so I'm going to share that too. So for the last group's homework, the last meeting, which was docs and slides, your homework was to attach a presentation that you created and used during a professional development session, PLC, or with staff. So hopefully that's an easy one for you to submit. So if you were here last week, that was your homework. The homework tonight, and you have till December 31st, I believe, to do all this. I think that was our due date, so don't worry. I do know that, if you go home and forget, you may not go back to it, so you may just want to knock it out and be finished. And there's 6 points each, so if you need points at all, it's a great way to rack up some easy points. Tonight's homework, or today's homework, if you choose to do it and want points, is to attach a Google form or Google sheet that you've created and used, sound familiar? During a professional development session, PLC, or with staff. So we're trying to make these really simple for you. Just make sure that they are shared with anyone who wants to see them, because the auditors will need access to view them in order to give you points in case they ever look. I know Rebecca and I are the ones that will be grading this, but auditors check. So we got to make sure we've covered the gamut. On one beautiful spreadsheet. So here we go. I will share it with you right now.
Put it on the slideshow, and that way everyone will have access to it automatically. We'll shareable link. I didn't put the one on the last slide, so we can put it there. I don't know why I'm still using this microphone. We should probably on the recording.
Are they still broadcasting?
I hope not. I'm sorry?
No, they are.
Did you get the presentation? We're just going to put it on that. Let me pull that up. We're going to put the link on this presentation for the homework and on the last slide, which this one never got updated anyway. That's the old.
No, I did. You are all updated on the bottom.
Oh, you updated it?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, because we have different ones.
Yeah. Click on it. See if it gets there. Okay, I will put it in the last slide for you. Yep. And we have to do our optimistic closure.
Yeah, don't leave before you get to have your closure. Oh, wow.
Yes. The last training is on Google Classroom. And we're also going to talk about digital citizenship as well. So hopefully you'll join us. It's the 19th from 1 to 4 in this room. And I am going to paste on that link.
It's going to be on that presentation. You'll just need to refresh because it's a live document. Well, it's, yes. Did you close the tab? Control-Shift-T. Doesn't matter. When you open up your computer again, if you do Control-Shift-T, it'll bring all your tabs back. Yeah. And if you can't figure, if it doesn't, it does. But if you forget Control-Shift-T, just shoot one of us an email and we'll send it to you.
I thought you told her to shoot us. It's like, that's so nice.
No. I'm not even going to repeat that.
Okay, good. Okay, so there you go. Your homework and your presentation are right there for you. Boom. Any other questions that we can answer or help you with? Okay, so we're all set then. Thank you so much for coming again to our training. And Google Classroom, we are both experts at, so I promise we won't fuddle through that. Google Sheets, I'm good at, but it just, yeah, that wasn't as great as it should have been.
That was not my thing.
Thank you. I'm critiquing myself.